What's good, Mexipino family? Before we start this podcast, we want to talk to you about our good friends over at the one, the only Tap Tap Send.
Tap Tap Send is your remittance best friend that allows you to send money to the Philippines and Mexico so you can send money for the best rates, zero fees to Mexico and the Philippines.
That's great. That is great. This actually reminds me of a meme that I just saw the other day. It was like, he's a 10, but in pesos.
Well, now pesos is worth more on Tap Tap Send.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? It is worth way much more on Tap Tap Send. So make sure that you use code Mexipino today so you can get free money that you could send over to the Philippines and Mexico ASAP. Just make sure you download the Tap Tap Send app. Make sure your friends and family download the Tap Tap Send app. And if you want it for more jug, make sure you're both using the code Mexipino so y'all can send each other more money.
Period. That's it. Simple as that. Download Tap Tap Send. Use code Mexipino.
Kamusta na kayo?
Hola, hola, everyone.
What's good, everybody? My name is Nico Blitz.
And I'm Jackie Ramirez.
And welcome back to the Mexipino podcast. We are in here. Benny's in here as well, just gallivanting across the room.
He's already wanting my attention when we were doing our Tap Tap Send thing. He was over here. Yeah.
Yeah, Benny, he knows what to do during a podcast. He kind of just like chills, he relaxes. He's very good. You can't even hear him.
Yeah, he just doesn't know what to do when he's alone at home.
Yeah, exactly. But we've actually been doing something really good, which I think is beneficial for him. We've been giving him some CBD.
Yeah, we've been giving him these CBD treats and what is it, like calming peanut butter too?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it worked, I think.
It worked.
I think we need to give him a little bit more.
You know what? I think Jackie had given Benny the recommended dose, and it was still not enough.
Yeah, it wasn't enough. I think we're gonna have to give that to him tonight. Because I just thought about it. You're like, oh, let's go tonight to like Downtown Disney.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait, Benny. So I think we're gonna have to give him a little.
Yeah, this dog be getting high, man. I mean,
CBD doesn't get you high.
So what does it do?
It's THC that gets you high.
Oh. So what if we gave him THC?
No, we're not giving our dog THC. We're not getting our dog high.
So CBD is the calming one and THC is the...
Yeah, so CBD is like the relaxing thing in marijuana.
Okay.
THC is the like what gets you high.
So marijuana has both CBD and THC?
It has properties of CBD and THC.
Well, all I know is it gives you a whole bunch of TLC. That's all I'm saying.
Good one.
See? Okay. Anyways, y'all, we got some tooth gems.
Yeah, we got tooth gems. I'm looking up CBD versus THC. CBD is not a psychoactive, while THC is the main psychoactive.
Psychoactive?
Yeah,
I didn't even realize that was a word.
So like, you know, like almost like hallucinogenic type of thing.
Yeah. So
the THC alters your mind.
This reminds me of when Bootleg Kev had told us that he had so Bootleg Kev, he partakes in shrooms, right? Mm-hmm. And so he was saying that his dog,
allegedly.
His Pomeranian... No, it's not even alleged. This guy takes shrooms. I take shrooms. It's not even alleged. Mm-hmm. But he was saying that his dog had accidentally got into his stash of shrooms. Shroom chocolates and got high as hell and was tripping for like a day or two.
Yeah, he said that his dog was like high for a whole day. He goes, poor dog was like upside down. Da, 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 da. So... But yeah, I would hate if that ever happened to Benny. I feel so guilty.
I think it'd be kind of funny.
No, like, to you.
It'd be kind of funny because then I could imagine what would be going on through his head, and he'd probably just be looking at the world like the world's already looking crazy for him. So I can't imagine a dog on shrooms. Like that might be even crazier for him.
I heard somewhere recently that like a day for a dog is like a week for us.
A day?
Yes. So like their week is a day, which is why they get like so like antsy to see us back home.
Oh, because they feel like we've been gone forever. Mm-hmm. So then how long would an hour be?
I don't know. I don't do math like that.
Well, okay, let's try to break it down. If one human year
is 7 years.
Is 7 years.
And 1 day is 1 week.
Does that even make sense?
Why don't you just do it that way? One day is 1 week. Why do you have to start from like the most?
No,
like,
because
like I already broke it down for you, hella.
Wait, but then would 1 week even be broken down to like a single day? Because
I think so.
Because 365 days times 7, like it doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I saw it somewhere.
I think whoever was doing the math was not mathing correct.
I don't know.
Because that's a lot.
I also saw this thing, you know how we were talking about girl math and like boy math and Filipino and Mexican math?
Yeah.
I saw this thing called dog math.
What is dog math?
And so I saw it somewhere on social media. I literally can't remember the creator, but she had put like, we've had girl math and we've had boy math. Now I present to you dog math. And so dog math is like, she's like literally showing her dog on the screen the entire time. It's like, if I have like 7 toys and 1 goes under the couch, I now have 0 toys. It's like, if you're gone for 3 hours, that means you're gone for 3 hours. If you're gone for 3 minutes, that also means you're gone for 3 hours.
Jesus Christ. Okay, now all of that makes 1,000% sense. If there's anything that I'm gonna agree with you on like right away, it was definitely that.
Yeah, so that was like dog math, and I thought that was the funniest thing because like Benny like has hella like rope toys, chewing toys, and like Nico and I have both noticed that he goes back to this one particular dinky ass toy. I'm like, dude, that one's like already like on its last leg and you want to keep on going without. Meanwhile, you have like 6 brand new toys.
Well, that's why I was so mad. I spent like $8 on like some Amazon ropes and they gave me like 5 ropes, including like a ball rope.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like, how are you not playing with all these new toys that I just gave you?
Yeah. And he goes back to like the like one that he's had since he was a puppy, but it's damn near like on its last leg.
Yeah. Which is ironic because it was actually the leg of a Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, the Mr. Potato Head's on the desk. He like fucked up that Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, shout out to Benny, the boy, the dog, the boy wonder.
Benny, come here.
But we weren't going to talk about like our dog Benny and dog math all day.
No.
We a lot of the conversations that we are going to talk about today actually stem from just Jackie and I working,
experiencing life. Life has been lifing lately.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
I mean, it doesn't suck for me. I love the life is lifing.
Well, I mean, no, for me it's been sucking.
Sucks in what way?
Sucks in like I'm just going through a lot of shit. Like, to be completely candid, like I'm just going through a lot of shit. And life has been lifing, and I'm trying to find the best in it right now.
Yeah.
So. Well,
today is all about work-life balance, ladies and gentlemen, aka Trauma Dump.
It's a Trauma Dump podcast. Yeah. I feel like a lot of our listeners and like people who are watching right now, they can probably tell like I'm a little off. But yeah, like life has been lifing. We just have been like really bringing it down to like what makes us happy. Individually, I mean, we're both happy together, but more so individually because I think we just are so busy in our work lives that are in our personal lives and our family lives, we tend to, I don't know what the word is, like, kind of dial back on or try and be as present as we can. And it's really hard to do that in like your mid to late 20s.
Well, we kind of wanted to like dial it in and map it out for you guys because like essentially in both Filipino and Mexican cultures, there's like this undeniable work ethic that we're all put through or like forced to get through. Mm-hmm. And it also starts at a very young age. And the ironic thing about all of this is that like we could start working at a young age and then later on in life, we're still dealt with like the troubles of this work-life balance that we can't ever seem to get a hold of. For instance, it's like, well, one day you got to work, but then you also got to get to a family party. And then like if you don't go to a family party, there's a whole bunch of shit that comes with that too.
Yeah.
And, you know, we kind of wanted to lay all of this out for you because this is something that we both see as very troublesome in both of our cultures.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Nico said, like our work ethic in both Filipino and Mexican culture is very strong. I think that a lot our parents and our grandparents have instilled that in us. It sucks because like a lot of people have told me like, oh, Jackie, you're such a hard worker and da da da. Like you always want to do the extra stuff. You always want to do more. And as of lately, I think this whole past year, I've been saying like, I don't want to be a hard worker anymore.
Really?
Yeah, and it sucks, but like I know I have said that where people have praised me for doing hard work, and I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore because it's tiring. It's mentally draining, emotionally draining, and physically draining. It's just like all of the above.
Well, is it just work that's tiring you out, or are there like outside factors?
Well, both outside factors too. I mean, but mainly I think it's like work that's like draining me. And then on top of that, it's like family stuff that's draining me. And then that always causes me to be tired. Like I think my thing is just always saying, I'm exhausted, I'm tired. And that's because literally I feel like I just don't have, and I think I feel that way because I don't have time for myself. Like by myself, without you, without Benny now, and like I just don't have time for myself.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah. Well, I think you need to put yourself away from like things that are a little bit more dispensable there's not even lack of a better word, like that's the word, things that are just a little bit more dispensable and not as much worth your time.
Yeah.
So so just to kind of like help navigate like everything, let's start from the beginning. I think Jackie, she was never really like working at a young age.
No, I like my family, my parents, and when I say my family, I'm talking about like my parents and my brother and I. My family, like they never pressured us, my brother and I, to like work at a young age. Like I know that like my parents started working really young because they had to.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in our cultures, like they started at a really young age working. Like some started at 12, some started at 13, some started even younger, you know. But me, I never did. I had my first job at 18 or 17, I think. 18? No, it was probably 18. But even then, like it was a job that I got because of softball, you know. It was part of my quote unquote scholarship that I got. My hard work and what my parents wanted was like, your job is to go to school and get good grades and play sports, and that's it. That's your job. And I remember my dad very clearly telling me that like my whole entire life, that's your job. Your job is to go to school, get good grades, and play sports. And that's why I never worked. You know, people might think I grew up privileged, but like I was privileged in the sense of like, you know, in high school, my mom would give me $20 a week out of her paycheck, and that would go into my own personal bank account, you know. Yeah. But that was because I didn't have a job. I didn't do anything until I got out of high school.
Yeah. Did your parents like want you to be like an all-star like softball prodigy or?
No, I think I kind of missed the mark on being like a softball prodigy, like very like probably by like my freshman or my sophomore year of high school. But they knew that I was good enough to get myself through school with it.
Okay, that makes sense. So they at least wanted you to continue with softball specifically, so you could up the ranks in school, in college eventually.
Yeah, but for me, it was like I was a good student. I wasn't the best, you know. I think like sophomore year, I kind of declined as a student. I kind of just declined as a person. And I was just like, okay, well, I mean, if I'm not going to get into a good college because of my grades, I'm going to get into a good college because of softball, you know? I'm going to do that. And I know I can do that. So, I got recruited. I got an offer from a 4-year, and I didn't pursue it because it wasn't enough, and then I ended up getting what was technically not a full ride, but kind of a full ride to a junior college. And, things happened since then, and I never finished.
So do you feel like, if you were to look back, would you feel like you have wanted to work during your high school life?
No, I don't think so. I still wouldn't have worked. Even if I had the opportunity, even if I didn't have softball.
Why is that?
Because I would have put so much more effort into school.
So you were already, so what you're saying is you were already, what's the word I'm looking for? Stretched too thin is what you felt like in high school.
Oh yeah, I feel like I've been stretched too thin since like the 8th grade, my whole life. I feel like I've been that way like my whole entire life. It was literally like high school. Once I started hitting 8th grade and then going into high school, it was constant travel ball and school. And
got you.
Travel ball, like our practices would be like 4 hours, on a freaking Tuesday or Wednesday night. And I'd still have to go back home, work on schoolwork, and then do it all again the next day. And then on weekends, I never had my weekends to myself. Neither did my parents, We spent the weekends at the field. We spent it all day from literally like 6:30 in the morning to like 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And then we would miss out on family events. And then, not that our family members wanted to make us feel bad, but because of that, our family members would end up calling us and oh, are you guys coming? Are you guys gonna make it? Whether it was just a random family barbecue, a carne asada, or a birthday party. And if we didn't show up, they'd get a little bit hurt. That's how my family would react. My extended family, they'd get a little bit hurt because we didn't make it. And then we'd hear about it the next time, oh, you guys didn't come last time, blah, blah, blah. And it's well, I'm here now,
Yeah, and that's all that really matters, that you're here now. It's it's that weird feeling of you want to do everything. You want to go to softball and, do your thing there. You want to have your own normal personal life that's detached from your family and friends. You might still want to have your life with your friends, and then you also want to have a life with your extended family. That's so much to try to deal with, especially at a young age. And this is not even counting the possibility of even having a job at that time, because softball was really just a full-time job for you at that point.
That's what I was about to say. As you were talking, I kind of realized that I treated it like a job. Yeah. That I know a lot of girls that I played softball with that I do consider, my friends, but I don't hang out with them, but I know that they hang out with each other now still. Yeah. And I'm why don't I have that? Why don't I talk to them? Why don't I hang out with these girls that I used to, that knew a lot about me, that went through a lot of trauma with me? And it's because I treated it like a job. I treated it like I'm going to show up, I'm going to do what I got to do, and I'm going to leave.
And do you think that's something that maybe your dad instilled in you, or your parents instilled in you?
Yeah, that's probably why, getting told over and over again, your job is school, get good grades, and true. Softball.
Yeah, I get that.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I knew that, obviously travel ball isn't cheap for any sport.
Yeah.
There's monthly fees, and so it's I knew that in the back of my head, I need to do this for my parents too.
Yeah. And that's another layer of pressure that I guess a lot of people don't necessarily externalize, is that when it comes to travel ball or whatever you got to do, you do end up doing it for your parents, especially if they're the ones paying for it or helping you out with it. It's kind of this weird dynamic. It reminds me of when I used to do Taekwondo when I was younger. And so I was in maybe 4th or 5th grade. And I was like top of the line when it came to like Taekwondo for like, you know, my age range. Like I was a silver medalist. I was a state silver medalist in doing like forms. Like I was really good at that. But then I was a gold medalist in fighting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew you were really good at it, but I didn't know you were that good at it.
Yeah, I was a gold medalist in fighting. I would kick some ass. You feel me? I knew what to do. But you know, I think the where this relates to all of this is that like that was something that my dad had put me in at that time, right? And you know, I knew what it was trying to teach me. Well, in retrospect, I figured out what it was trying to teach me. It was trying to teach me discipline, and it was trying to teach me like, you know, like get there on time and, you know, make sure you know, you're not doing anything crazy outside of like school, right? And so at some point, like I just really loved basketball. And so I think one of the toughest conversations that I ever had with my parents, because I was just so fearful of like telling my dad, especially like, hey, I don't want to do Taekwondo anymore. I want to do basketball. And it was because A, I enjoyed playing the sport in school, and B, all my friends were doing it as well. And so I had to let go. Now that I'm, you know, saying this out loud, at a young age, I had to let go of the idea that you are going to disappoint your parents because you're not doing something that they don't want you to do. Now, granted, make sure that this thing is actually a positive thing and not like drugs, for example. Like, you know what I mean? If your parents say don't do drugs, like, yeah, don't do fucking drugs, as I was talking about shrooms earlier. But you know what I mean? Like, those good things where it is good for you, but if you just don't want to do it because you feel like it is not you, I made it okay for me to say that when I was younger.
Yeah, and I don't think I ever got to that point. Like I got to a point when I was younger where it was tiring playing softball. There was just a bunch of politics with it too.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think it was my mom who asked me when I was like younger and I was kind of going through a lot with softball, where she was just kind of like, well, do you want to quit? Do you want to stop? And I just remember being scared to stop.
And basically scared to say no, even though she's offering you.
Yeah. Even though they were offering me and she was offering me an out, it was like scary to say no, because it was like, okay, one, am I going to disappoint them if I say no? If I stop playing softball, what am I going to do if I don't play softball? Because this was literally my personality my whole entire life.
Yeah.
You know? And I work so hard, and why should I quit when it's like not my fault, you know?
Yeah, I get you. I mean, there's that underlying fear that is kind of hard to get over. It's kind of like, are you testing me? Are you just trying to see like if I'm actually going to do it? That's that weird fear that we have.
No, 1,000%. I think it was just like, it's scary, you know? And then like, I still haven't gotten to that point where I say no to my parents. I say no to my family. Like it's exhausting not saying no. It's exhausting saying yes all the time.
Well, I think that's something that we have to normalize, whether it be like with work or especially with family, because it's a lot easier to say no to family than it is to say at work, because frankly, one is paying you and the other will definitely understand if you say no. Or I won't say definitely understand, but will make more of an attempt to understand why you say no.
I kind of disagree with that. Well, I don't know. Well, I feel like
work won't let you say no, but family will allow you to say no at times, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I also feel like family won't understand. That's where I disagree with you. It's like, oh, one will try and understand, which is family, and I don't think family understands like most of the time, or even tries to understand. I think especially within like my culture, they make you feel guilty a lot of the time if you say no. Like saying no to your parents, saying no to family in Mexican culture is kind of like a no-no. Like you don't do that, you know?
That's a no in itself.
Yeah, that's a no in itself.
That's wild.
Like it's always preached like at the end of the day, all you have is family, and this is your family, and you only have one, and da 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 da. Yeah. And it's like, I think because our culture is such hard workers that it's possible to do everything.
I hear that.
You know, do everything. Be a hard worker. Be present for your family, and whether it's like, even if it's you're tired as hell, show up to the family carne asada.
Yeah, but I think the one follow-up question that comes after that is always like, at what expense though? You know, like, you can be the hardest working person in the room, right? Like, and Jackie mentioned earlier that her parents worked at a very young age. I worked when I was 14. I'm not sure if that's like as young as like your parents were working, right? But nonetheless, like, you always got to ask yourself, like, at what expense am I overdoing myself at? At what expense am I going to work or going to softball or doing all my extracurriculars and then spending time with my family and then trying to do stuff with my friends, but not having the time to just be me and just maybe even simply just fuck off some time because that's all you really want to do. And I think the issue not only comes from like our families giving us pressure to not say no, but it's the pressure that, well, shoot, maybe if I am alone or I'm not doing softball or I'm not doing stuff with my family, like, what is it that I'm really doing? Yeah. Like, do I feel guilty for not doing anything? Do I feel guilty for not having something else that I shouldn't or that I should be doing? I even face that guilt, like, you know, every so often too. And it was actually my brother-in-law, Jason, who reminded me like a couple months ago because he saw I was very stressed out. And it was actually when I was, you know, still living back in the Bay for a bit. He saw I was very stressed out. He knew I was working like day in and day out. And he was like, man, like, you need to take like at least an hour or two a day for yourself to just decompress and just not do shit. And I think my internalized fear is that when I am not doing anything for like 1 hour or 2 hours a day, I feel kind of useless in that sense. And it's not necessarily something that like my family instilled in me, but like when you're surrounded by a lot of people who are just simply hard workers, you feel like you're constantly like in a rat race. Like, I still got to get mine. Why the fuck am I stopping? I'm always tired. I never sleep. You know what I mean?
I feel like we're never satisfied. And that's what, like, I mean, I also like kind of dealt a little bit of with that when like I got my radio job, you know, like I finally reached what I wanted. Yeah. And I couldn't even enjoy it. You know, I was constantly like, I have been the type of person, and because of what the field that we work in, the industry that we work in, we're always looking for the next thing, or we have multiple jobs on top of each other. And when I got my radio job, like, that was the first full-time job, you know, that's my first full-time job. That's my first like steady pay job. And I should be embracing it. And I should be happy about it. And I should be like, just not complacent, but enjoying it, you know? Yeah. And I couldn't, and I still can't, you know? I always feel like, for some reason, like, I remember, like, I think it was, I don't even know if I've ever said this to you, but, like, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 months into radio, where I was literally on LinkedIn and looking for other jobs.
Wait, what?
Yeah, why? I was looking at like other hosting jobs, like like NBA or WNBA in arena host.
Oh, okay.
Like,
well,
I was looking for I was looking for other jobs, and then I was just like, and then I was looking for a job for like a media reporter for like, I think it was like Hollywood Lifestyle or something like that. I don't know. And I was looking at that, and I'm just like, why am I looking at this? Like, I'm literally in the position I wanted to be. I have a full-time job. I have benefits. I have, you know, like, I'm about to be on a contract. Like, why am I not enjoying this? And it's because of that, like, mentality that I was brought up on. It's like, you always got to keep doing better. Always got to keep doing better. And for me, doing better was like constantly looking for the next thing.
Yeah.
Looking for the next thing.
I hear you. I think this kind of like, I kind of want to weave in like social media when it comes to this too, is that like, I like to think of life and the highs of our lives and the lows of our lives as if it was like a viral video. And so I'm not sure if everybody can relate to this, like whether you've gone viral in your life or not, but like getting a video or something that hits like 1 million views, like that's insane. It's like a weird, insane rush that you get, and you're just like, oh wow, now I just got to keep on doing more. Like this is insane. And what tends to happen is that like, well, actually what will happen, similarly to how a viral video is and how life is, like you're going to reach that peak, and then we ride that peak for as long as we can, and then it will come down. That peak is not going to stay there forever. But the thing that people cannot bounce back from is that when you get back to whatever your normal stasis is or status is, like you have to be okay with that. So like you're going to ride it, to relate it to Jackie's story, right? You're going to reach your high, which is radio, and you are going to obtain that job. You are personally going to obtain whatever goal that is. And once you obtain that goal, you ride that high for as long as you can. But just like a high, it's going to go down. Yeah. You need to be able to identify like when that high is away and be okay with your new base level of where life is.
Yeah. And I think it's just like, it's hard, you know. I just always feel so guilty of like reaching what I aspire to. And the like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, because I worked so hard to get to where I am, now that I'm there, and it comes with, you know, it's very time consuming. Yeah. It's super like hard to have everyone else in my life understand that how time consuming it is.
Yeah. I mean, the way I think of it, like, so for instance, when I first left the Bay Area and moved to LA back in 2014, like I was going back and forth all the time. You know, I was going back for family parties, mom's birthday, dad's birthday, grandparents' birthday, everyone's fucking birthday. And I have a massive family, so you can only imagine how many times a year I was going back for the first like 2 years or so. I came to realize how tiring it is physically, how much money it actually takes to, you know, travel there, because it's a 5-hour drive, a 1-hour flight. And I recognized that I was no longer being myself because I was giving parts of myself to too many people. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you do so much for other people that, okay, Jackie gets a piece of me, my mom gets a piece of me, my dad gets a piece of me, every single one of my friends, every single one of my family members gets a piece of me. Well, guess what? You've given away so many pieces of yourself that you've actually lost yourself in the process. You don't know where you are because you're so scattered across so many people. And I say all that to say that when life finally hits you, when you are either in school or you have a job and you might live far away, and there's family parties and family gatherings, and there's friend gatherings, and there's like nieces and nephews who enter your life, or like dogs that enter your life, or whatever just enters your life, like you need to remind yourself, like, okay, if I want to make space for something new in my life, I also need to make way from something else that is currently in my life. And to be honest, and it might sound harsh, but if you get a dog, you might not need to go to your uncle's birthday. I'm just going to be honest that way. You know, if you have a kid in your life, you might not be able to go to your second aunt's birthday anymore. You know what I mean? And you need to be okay with making these sacrifices. I think just when it comes to both Filipino and Mexican cultures, we haven't been okay with that for a long time. We haven't been okay with, let's not do this because I need to focus on myself, because our cultures are so family driven and family first and family this, family that again, the more you give to your family, the less you can give to yourself.
And I think that's like what's most toxic about our cultures, about Filipinos and Mexicans, is that if we put ourselves first, we're looked at as selfish.
Now, but the thing is, if you put yourself first, you're actually putting your family ahead of you too. Imagine if every single one of your families put themselves first in the best way possible. Like, okay, cool. Like, I'm sure that I'm on top of my job. I'm sure that I'm on top of taking care of my mental health, my physical health, and everything. If you don't put yourself first, guess what? You might not be here. You're literally not going to be here if you don't put yourself first. And the one thing that your family needs out of you is actually you. And you can't do that if you're not here. And by not here, I mean in the physical sense, I mean in the mental sense, I mean in the emotional sense. You can physically be at a family party, but if you're checked out, if you don't even want to be there, are you actually even there? You're not giving your family the best that you can offer of yourself, you know?
No, it does make sense. I think it's because you, and like it is with age, which is why I'm saying this. Like you are older, you are literally in a different city than your family, and you have more experience with this, and you're very much a like carefree person. And I think I'm trying not to get emotional.
No, it's okay. Do your thing.
I think I've just been like, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I think it's just the best word that I can use right now. But I've just been like so manipulated in my life to feel guilty about taking care of myself or putting myself first.
Like putting yourself first and taking care of yourself is a bad thing?
Yeah, that
as opposed to like looking out for your family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like if I don't want to do something and I don't do it, it's like a bad thing, you know? It's like why didn't you make the time? You know? Or you could have done both type of thing.
I hear that. I mean, I think to be fair, if I were to play devil's advocate too, I'm not a parent, apparently. But I think too, to play devil's advocate, our parents did not have that opportunity to navigate those types of thoughts as well. I think that now that our generation and even the generations after us have the opportunity to actually like, and I mean this in the best way possible, to actually live a life that isn't about, like my grandfather, for example, that isn't about if I work hard, I can move to San Francisco and I can move my entire family here. Like for Jackie's family, if I work hard and I get over to California, I can eventually move all my family here. Like we don't have to deal with that. And I mean that in the best way possible. That is something that we do not have to do. And because our parents and our grandparents, because that is something that they had to do, they feel like you're able to do anything in the world, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You should feel like you should be able to do everything that you want to do on this earth. But again, I think it's different times now. It's a different landscape in which we live in. We are currently living the dream that the previous generations want for us to live.
Yeah, but, and I get that. I do. But at the same time, I feel like especially in my culture, like our moms always tell us and our parents always tell us like, oh, I want you to be better than what I was, and I want you to be able to things that I never got the chance to do, and I want you to go out, and I want you to like have fun and this and that, go out with your friends and it's that, but with restrictions. It's like it's like, yeah, live the life that you want to live, but if I say it's okay. Yeah, live the life that you want to live, but don't go do this. Go out to a party, but still be back by 11. It's like, I don't know, like.
I mean, I still get those things. I get it. I get it in retrospect.
Yeah.
Just because, well, to be fair, you were in high school, you had a lot of time to just do softball, right?
Yeah. Okay. And that's all I ever did.
Okay. So for me, despite the fact that I was working, I was surrounded by a lot of crazy shit, like drugs, alcohol, everything. And especially at a young age, that shouldn't be something that you deal with. So I can actually come from that perspective to where it's like, I understand if like your parents want you home by like 11. I totally get that. What I won't understand is like, I think your Tia Steph was talking about like asking your grandpa at one point to like, you want to explain that portion?
Yeah, like one of my aunts, one of my tias, she always tells me this story, and she told Nico recently too that like, one time she had asked my grandpa to go out to a party, and he was just like, okay, es las 5, te quiero a las, no, wait, what do you say? He basically said like, okay, my aunt had asked to go to a party, and my grandpa said like, okay, it's 5 o'clock. I want you back at 8. And she looked at him like, well, the party starts at 8. He's like, well, take it or leave it.
Yeah, I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, you still gotta do your makeup, you know what I mean? You still gotta get ready. You still gotta drive there. And then I felt like by the time like you go there, it's like 7 o'clock. It's like, oh shit, well now I gotta leave in like 20 minutes. Like,
yeah, but the party ain't even start at 7. The party starts at like 9.
That's what I'm saying. That's something I won't agree with. You know? But like 5 to 11, yeah, I'll agree with 5 to 11. I can't agree with like 5 to 8. You know what I mean? Like, no. Please do your thing. Yeah. Please do your thing. I think
it's hard to find this like this balance of everything, this life balance.
Well, you know, I think that we wouldn't do this podcast too much due diligence if we weren't to offer advice on how to achieve like a particular work-life balance. Obviously, Jackie's struggling a little bit more when it comes to this, so I can only offer like a couple things that I currently practice and do, right? So one thing that Jackie and I have to work on right now is sleeping early and getting up early. And by sleeping early, I mean like at least 12 o'clock. And by waking up early, I mean by like 8 o'clock. And personally, I've been doing a really good job at waking up at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I can at least pat myself on the back for that. And I'm happy that I do that. But one thing that I like to express is that, like, to Jackie especially, is when I'm working, like from the moment I wake up and I start working, I'm on work mode from like 9 o'clock all the way up until like 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. I have my lunch break in between because I obviously need time to just take a break and decompress. I have my dog here too, and so we play throughout the day, so I'm not like constantly working like boom, 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 boom. I've come to realize like I need these little, I guess for lack of a better term, like distractions so I can like decompress throughout the day and it doesn't feel as stressful. But I shit you not, by the time it's like 7 o'clock, 6, 7, 8 o'clock or whatever, I'm not even working anymore. Like, I will do my absolute best to make sure I do nothing that is work related because I need those last couple of hours to balance not only the time that I need for myself, but the time that I need with Jackie and maybe even time to like talk to my family or friends or what have you. And, you know, I think just having that, setting yourself an allotted time for when you do things, like this time is going to be for work. this time is going to be for decompressing and whatnot, then I'm going to have this time to simply just spend with my family, my friends, time for myself. And this is especially hard for creatives, right? Especially hard for people who don't have a 9-to-5 job, because a 9-to-5 will already give you a schedule that you are going to abide by.
Yeah.
That being said, also on weekends too, when I have gigs, like I've been straight up telling Jackie, like, we don't have to go to every single family party, and I would like it if we don't, simply because it's going to overwork me and my bandwidth, and it's going to overwork her and her bandwidth. Like, it's okay to say no, y'all. Like, we say no to, like, whether it be like body shaming or like sexual activity and all that, but we also need to normalize saying no when it comes to doing things that we simply don't want to, whether it be with friends or family. Like, we need to be able to say no to family and be okay with it. Yeah. And relatively, they need to be okay with it too.
Yeah. I mean, plain and simple, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I can't offer much advice right now.
It's all good. I get it. One thing that I do want to offer, though, because this to me was the epitome of hard work that I saw the other day. We have Superbox. Shout out to Superbox. This is not an ad. I just love this fucking thing.
It's probably illegal.
But it has access to TFC, which is the Filipino channel. And Jackie and I were watching it for a bit. Mm-hmm. There was a cool story about a guy. His name is Vincent. Now, Vincent is a single father of what seemed like 8 kids.
6 to 8.
6 to 8 kids. A little bit of a shorter guy, and this guy lives in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. He has a nub on his left or right hand. Left hand. And the thing about Vincent is that he sells ice cream for a living. You might even think, how the hell is he selling ice cream with a nub? Well,
yeah, sorbets.
Yeah, he created a basically tray that he attaches to his nub, where he can then attach the ice cream onto it. So he'll put the cone onto this tray, which holds the ice cream. He'll scoop some ice cream, and then he'll put it on the cone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking impressive. And so the interviewer was interviewing him, and it asked, like, you know, why do you do what you do? And he said, well, I'm a single father, and all I want to do is see my kids go through school and be successful and be happy. And then they turned around and they interviewed the kids and said, what do you want most out of like this entire situation? And one of the kids had said, I want to be able to get a really good job so I can help my family get into a nicer place, a better living situation. Mm-hmm. And something about that story was just so heartwarming, because, you know, there are reasons why people don't want to do things, whether they be like tired or whatnot. And then you have this guy with a nub who is working for like 6 to 8 of his children just to make sure that they have food and they have like a decent education, at the very least, a decent and hopefully good education. Now, again, make some time for yourself. Make some time for everything that you need to make sure that you are able to do the things that you really want to do. If like a family party doesn't align with your goals of like, I want to be able to get a house and start my family, then you might not need to go to that family party. Yeah. If you can say no to like going out with your homies if it means like, okay, I need my peace of mind. I need my sanity.
Say no to drinking.
Yeah. Say no to all of that. Like, just say no. Say no. That's been the common phrase today. Just say no.
No. Rosa Parks.
Jesus Christ. No. Cesar Chavez.
Yeah.
No. Larry Itilog.
No.
No. Nico Blitz.
Jack Ramirez.
This is the Mexipino podcast. Goodbye, y'all.
Adios.